David Murphy, David J. Murphy. Are we still using the
Hey,
J these days? What does J
sure.
stand for? John? David John?
Yeah. Yeah.
John? Oh, look at me knowing your middle name.
How
Do I
are
know
you
your social security number? Let me check.
there?
David Murphy, David Murphy, David Murphy. One of my favorite people in the industry, in the printing industry, in the marketing industry, certainly has been leading the charge over the past several years, trying to pull printers kicking and screaming into the digital marketing realm, and not just for their own business, but for offering services to their customers as well.
Right.
We have had many topics during our event today, David, that really talked about technologies combining and how there's money on the table in any direction, whether you're whether you're a company that does SEO and you don't have access to marketing partners, or you're a marketing service provider or a printer and you don't have access to digital marketing tools. Everybody has to come together at this point because the world has come together at this point. So
Right.
that is how I will preface this conversation, which is really how to get new customers through your website. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Deborah, and good evening to you, everyone. I presume that you're having a great day. I know I am. I love that last presentation. The passion, enthusiasm, the animation, and energy was really inspiring for me. So, hey, thanks for those who are still with us at the end of this fine day in the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast, so it's still daylight out, and I really want to spend the next few minutes with you talking to you about this topic, which is really super meaningful to me. And when I began thinking about this topic, I first, thought of a story of a printer that I spoke with. And I asked this printer how their business is going. And they said, yeah, it's going fine. But I said, okay, well, how are you getting your business? And they said, well, networking, referrals, current customers, we're really very happy. So I said, okay, I took a look at your website and your website is beautiful. So tell me, how you get business through your website. Am I able to, advancing? Are you seeing my slide advance?
I'm not. Do you have that little remote control up on your?
I'm clicking the green arrow to the right and it's not happening.
Okay, they will get that for you.
Okay, I'm going to keep talking and then hopefully.
There you go. There it goes.
Okay, what are we looking at here? Okay, so we see, okay,
you.
Cool. Now, so I asked this printer how their business is going and how they're getting business, and are they getting business from their beautiful website, which was beautifully designed, great colors, great logo, great photos, except that they said they weren't really getting any business through their website. And I found that a little bit hard to believe. And I was somewhat saddened by that because, we spend thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars on our websites. And it's important that you get new customers through that website, right? So when we look at, I'm advancing, it says client has disconnected. I'm clicking the green arrow.
You know what, David, they're gonna click the slides for you, so you could just say next and they got you.
All right, cool. So I see where we are now. Let me just tell you about where can you go back? I want to just tell you just briefly about myself here. So I have been in the print industry for about 3 decades in a variety of facets: marketing, sales, operations, and I've worked with printers and those in the print industry around the world, and everyone wants to grow their business. And if we can go to the next slide, we can talk about what I did after I left HP, because I started this full service marketing agency primarily for the purpose to help those in the print industry. And I wanted this to be not so niche that we could only do 1 or 2 things for those in the print industry, but we really could serve all of their needs, or at least a broad spectrum of their needs. And so with this, we created this model by which we are able to deliver strategic direction consulting at the front end to make sure that we are spending money in the right way. And then when we have the strategy, and only once we have the strategy, do we execute a campaign or design a program or deliver a product. And all doing so in the realm of alliance and alignment with the client's brand to make sure that what they want to be known for and the message they want to be delivered to their ideal customer profile resonates with that ideal customer. And then finally, once it gets to the sales team, that we're enabling them to deliver the final mile of value. And so if we go to the next slide, we can see about how different prospects or customers find a website. And we don't all find a website the same way. We don't all find a storefront the same way. We don't all meet a sales representative the same way. We begin our buying journeys from a million different directions based on our awareness and our knowledge of that and our urgency of demand. And so if we look over to the right side of this slide, we have a lot of traditional media that we can use: print, direct mail, email marketing, mass media, and customer referrals, such as we mentioned earlier. And those are absolutely critical. And this is not a presentation about the alternative to that. This is a complementary strategy where we combine organic and paid channels to reinforce, to accelerate, and to improve the effectiveness of all of your channels so that we can determine how much money we should be spending to reach what audience with what message at what time. And whether they are coming directly to your website or whether they are coming to your storefront or whether they are receiving a sales call from your sales team, they need to have at least begun their journey somewhere before that time. So they don't just come to your website, they don't just talk to a salesperson, they have had to have had some exposure, some awareness, some conscious building before we get to that point. And how well we develop and deliver the tools at the front end of that customer journey will accelerate and make more efficient that process by which they become not only a customer, but a loyal and a raving customer. So next slide. I want to talk about the 8 different ways that strangers can find your website. Now, I say strangers because we want people that we don't know to come to our website because that's where the world is. We know a certain number of people. We might know hundreds or thousands, and maybe tens of thousands might even know us. But there are potential print buyers out there who are looking for a solution, who want to meet with a partner who can satisfy their specific need, but they come through that door a lot of different ways. So when we look at this like a clock, and if we look at the 7 o'clock position, the least expensive way that you could ever have a customer visit your website is if they type in the URL of your domain, myprintshop.com. If they do that, you theoretically haven't spent any money, but you really have, because you've had to lay the groundwork ahead of time. But when you can get people who know you and they already know your domain and they're just typing in, then they're already there. So that's one of the ways that they can reach you. And you look at the 5 o'clock position, the referral way is also highly effective because they have clicked on some link somewhere on the website that has brought them to your website or a specific page on your website. And now when we look at the upper to right-hand side of this circle, from 12 o'clock down to 4 o'clock, we've got Google search, email marketing, and social media, which is the organic side of social media, meaning it's natural, we're not paying for it. Of those 3, when we look at email marketing and social media marketing, we are talking to people who probably already know us. We shouldn't be sending email to strangers who haven't given us permission to email them, but we're emailing people who already have opted in to receive our message. So that's not really growing our business exponentially. Social media, we're already talking to our friends, fans, and followers, and we are hoping that maybe their likes, comments, and shares will expand our network, but that is a very slow process. Up at the top, you see Google search, and this is the way that you can reach the most number of people for the least amount of money, with the exception of direct typing in the address. And over on the left, we're going to talk about the paid channels of Google Search, Google Display, and social media. But I want to start by just talking about Google Search. If we go to the next slide and talk about SEO, which is search engine optimization. And I say this is the second least expensive because the first least expensive is that of direct input of your URL. But until we get there, we want people to naturally find us when they are actively looking for a solution, or if they're actively wanting to learn something, or if they're looking for a print shop to go to. So Google is about knowing, doing, going, and learning. And so SEO is extremely cost efficient. It reaches 10 times more than social media alone, and it reaches people who are actively looking for something on the internet. Now, it's so brutally hard to get ranked at the top because there's so many alternatives in the market. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of noise. And so to be ranked at the top of a search when someone is looking for a specific keyword that links to a product or a service that you offer, you have a very high likelihood of capturing a new customer. And once you get to that realm of being at the top of the page, it can be really very difficult for even the biggest players in the market to outperform you because you've already laid this organic groundwork that can't be beaten by paid search, if you will, or by Google advertising. So if we go to the next slide, I want to talk just a little bit more about this element of SEO and why it's so impactful, because there are two things that drive a company's ranking in a search engine, where it says SERP ranking, that's search engine results page. That's the page that pops up after you have entered a question or a search term into your browser. So in order to get there, there are two drivers. One is the relevance of the content on your page, and the other is the authority. And the authority of your page comes from how many and how strong you have, how many links you have from other websites and how strong they are in terms of their credibility, their authority, their reputation. And so what we really want to do is we want to build words into our content that is natural, that is relevant, that is meaningful, that is not written for a Google crawler, but it's written for a person, but happens to be picked up by Google crawlers, and therefore will index that page and serve it to people who are looking for that particular word. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about what the key drivers are in terms of Google's algorithm. So if you look at all these different contributing factors that would cause a site to get ranked, the top three, which represents about 54% of the weight, is in the consistent publication of engaging content that relates to real life case studies, real print jobs, real applications, real ROI metrics, real components of a marketing strategy that people want to learn about. How does print interact with AI? How does print interact? How do I design for a large format banner? All sorts of ways that people want to find information. They can find it through blog content, through service and product pages on your website. And if you can continually and consistently write and produce relevant and engaging content, that's the best thing you can do. And then the second thing is make sure those keywords are in the copy, but also in the meta title tags. And then third, as I mentioned on that last page, it's getting links from other pages back to your site. This takes months, and sometimes it can take years, depending upon the competitiveness of the space that you're working in. But once you get there, it can be very, very cost efficient. Now, when we go to this next slide, we can talk about the 5 elements that cause anyone to find your Google business profile before they get to your website. Because often, if someone enters a search term or they enter the name of your company, they'll find your Google business profile. And there are 5 elements that cause your Google business profile to rise above your competitors who offer the same product and the same services. The first on the left is brand health. That has to do with how often you're publishing relevant photos and posts to your Google business profile. And the second one is how many people are actually seeing that post, because how well you enter the keywords into your content and onto your profile will determine how high you are in the rank. So you might have 3,000 or 5,000 people see it if you have the right keyword that correlates to the word that they are searching for. Listing health is number 3. So we want to make sure that your profile on your Google business profile and all of the other directories on the internet have the same exact information that is consistent, complete, and accurate. And then over to the right is where it really gets tricky, because we have to get 4 and 5-star reviews from your customers that are real, relevant, and recent. And the final step is to engage with these people after they have already given you a review. So as the owner of the business, you have to respond, even if they are trolls, even if they are unreasonably negative, you have to respond. First of all, 89% of people will read a review before they'll make a buying decision, and 53% will expect the owner of the business to respond to a negative review. So you have to get the reviews, they have to be positive, and you have to respond to them. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about why don't customers leave reviews? Because some of you, most of you, are already asking, hey, would you give us a review? We really would appreciate it. But most of the time, they don't. If they did, it would be easy and we wouldn't have to talk about it. But for the vast majority of the time, they do not. So let's talk about the next slide, which is the reasons that they do not. So 54% of the time, if you take the second and the third box, it's 2 reasons. They don't know what to write and they don't have the time. Oh no, here's another review request. What am I going to say? If this is going to take me 3 minutes, that's 3 minutes that I don't have. I don't know what I'm going to say, so I'm going to ignore this request and move on with my day. Next slide. So there's a tool that's now available that utilizes AI to assist your customers in writing a review. It assists you as the business owner to respond to that review, and it exponentially can expand your circle of reviews and accelerate this feedback process from the time that they have bought something from you, they've had a great experience, you ask them for a review, they deliver it, you give them a response, and it happens literally in minutes. So we're going to talk about how that can be done through this AI assistant. So the next slide talks about this workflow. So there is a tool called Google Review Booster that allows you to send a text to your customer after they have bought or after they've had an experience. And you say, hey, how would you rate your experience on a scale of 1 to 5? They say 5. You say, awesome. Would you mind giving us a review? Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. If they don't, it gives them a request or an offer to write the review for them. Makes it super easy to do it in real time. They don't have to think about it. They don't have to plan for it. They don't have to put a lot of brain power into it, because it does it for them, and they have the opportunity to review it, edit it, and then repost it. So the next slide, we're going to talk about how this process works. So you would, after you finish a job, you would send a text to your customer and saying, hi, this is David with my print shop. Really appreciate your feedback on your recent, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but your recent print job. How would you rate your experience on a scale of 1 to 5? If they say a 4 or a 5, let's go to the next slide. Then the tool automatically responds to them saying, that's awesome to hear. Would you mind leaving us a Google review? Here's the link. Now, this is where there's a massive drop off. Now people are going to go, I don't want to. If they don't, 24 hours later, next slide, you'll give them, sorry, one more slide after that. A chat bot will offer to help them with this initial draft. So I noticed you haven't given us a review. That's no problem. Would you like some assistance through our AI chatbot? Sure. Reply with yes if you want to try it. A few seconds later, it gives a suggested review. They don't have to think about it. If they like that, they can simply copy and paste that into the link you just sent them. If they don't like it, they can click N and they can get it, or they can click Y to get another suggestion. So next slide. So this dashboard lets you see all of the reviews in a single dashboard, single profile, and then it lets you go through and you can automatically respond to them using the AI chatbot. So this process takes literally minutes to set up. You connect the tool to your Google business profile, and then when you finish a job, when you sell a product, you take that person's phone number and their name, You upload it, and then a few minutes later, they will get the text that I just sent you. So next slide. That part is super easy. It will help your SEO. It will help you get more reviews. It will help you differentiate. There are other tactics whereby you might want to reach people because you haven't yet been found organically, and you might want to reach them through retargeting and geofencing. If they have searched for your competitors' names, you can have your ad served to them. If they have searched for a product, banners, books, direct mail, packaging, and they didn't make a decision, you can have your ad retargeted to them. Geofencing, if they go to your customers, if they go to your competitors' addresses, you can contact them, not directly, but with an ad. So you can have your ad served to them on their mobile phone, on their tablet, on their home PC, and then you can actually have a television commercial delivered to them in their home through smart TV. On the next slide, I won't go through this for the interest of time, but there are 5 subdivisions of retargeting and geofencing. So you can do it, as I mentioned, where people are visiting your own site and they have left without buying. People who have engaged through other marketing activities, whether it's email or other advertising, and you have some customer data that you can upload. Number 3 is when they're searching for contextual words like banners, books, signs, etc. And 4 is when they are going to a competitor's site, or if they're going to a particular area, you can have the cookie placed on their device and they will get that that ad. And then finally, you could actually, if you wanted to do consumer marketing, you could have television commercials delivered directly to their home using Smart and Zip TV. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it beyond just simply buying search words. There's many different ways we can utilize the technology to reach people. So next and final slide, I just want to share that we do have an ultimate guide to SEO for printers. You can text in the chat, or you can visit our website. And we have a print marketing page on inventmarketing.com. You can go there, complete your information, and you'll get this SEO for Printers Ultimate Guide. And I really appreciate the time that you've shared with me. And the last slide just gives you my contact information. If you'd like to follow up with me, I'm happy to give you a free competitive analysis or a digital marketing audit of your Google business profile, of your website, of your social media channels, of your advertising. So really my pleasure to be with you guys. Thanks so much for staying late and for sharing your time with me.
Hey, virtual, if you could just put David's last slide up that had his contact information. Let's just put that back up. Although I do want to say that we did share your information in the chat, David, but it was just your website and your LinkedIn, but people could certainly get in touch with you that way as well. Thank you so much for joining us today and for your support of the Printiverse and for really helping printers. I mean, you and I have this conversation all the time that digital marketing is an employee of your company. If you are investing, what does it cost to you invest in a marketing person, a social media person? Wow. And do they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year without needing a bathroom break or a vacation time? I mean, I'm not saying those are bad things to give to humans, but why? You know, there are now more efficient ways of getting things done and taking some of that time and effort off of humans so they can repurpose or use the information to create better business decisions, better strategies. And I've said this ever since you started this business, there's nobody better to work with than David Murphy. He was a printer. He worked in the printing industry forever. He understands the business and he understands that you probably don't want to get involved with this, but he knows you should. And that is why he has been very successful at it. Well, I could swear I just saw Phoenix's best digital agency or some award. Why don't you tell everybody about that and then we'll let you go.
Sure. We just won an award for best SEO, or one of the best SEO agencies in Phoenix. So it's just following the strategy, delivering execution, and then iterating and improving along the way. So thanks, everybody.
Well, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything you do to help everybody. And we will be back in 1 minute or less and to talk about the education system and the printing industry.